Hey Yogis, welcome to Limitless Yoga Studio Online. My name is Kelsey. This is Watson. And before we start class, I just wanted to give you a reminder that we do have a Patreon account. The link is in the description below. Feel free to donate so that we can keep bringing you these wonderful classes. Today's focus is going to be ankle stability. So we're going to be working all the ankles that are going to help us not only with balance poses as yogis, but also if you're a runner or an athlete, especially someone that has to be very mobile, cutting like soccer players, rugby players, or a trail runner that's on an uneven surface. These are going to be really, really good both releases and strengtheners for you to incorporate and make sure that those ankles are bulletproof. So we're gonna need some supplies. We're gonna need a yoga block. If you have the foam ones, that's ideal. It's gonna be perfect for today. Usually I'm always a cork block fan for stability, but we actually want the instability today. So cork block, if you don't, no worries. You can still have your cork block. You can always just put something like a rag on there to give it a little bit of something to work with. Okay, so make sure you have your block. You're gonna need your yoga strap. You're gonna need a rag. Also, a tennis ball or a myofascial release ball. And then if you have a resistance band, awesome. I'm going to give you a couple of things for it. If you don't worry about it. We can still work around it. Okay, so make sure you have all your supplies. And then you're going to take your yoga strap to start with. Go ahead and thread, hey buddy, go ahead and thread the end, the tail, through the two metal D-rings to make a loop. And then we're going to go back in between to create that lasso. And then we want the lasso to be about hip distance apart-ish. Don't get too wrapped up on the distance because you'll figure it out as soon as we put it on the legs. We want to give the legs some support here as we start. So as we take the loop up to the thigh bones, I'm going to want to be able to, hey buddy, I'm going to want to be able to let the strap do the work. Thigh bones are going to fall against the strap. I'm going to spend no energy here. I'm just going to hang out with Watson being a little ding-dong. Hi buddy. So go ahead and find that perfect distance for you with the strap, and then make sure that the feet are planted firmly on the ground. Go ahead and lay on back, relax, close down the eyes, and we're going to start with just a little bit of breath work and a little bit of awareness to the feet. Once the eyes are closed down, see if you can relax the muscles of the face so much that you feel the jaw drop, the tongue drop, maybe even the ears drop. You might feel a smoothing of the forehead. You might feel a softening of the throat. As you continue to breathe in and out the nose, notice where that inhale goes. In the nose, down the throat, trace it all the way to where it's filling up space in the torso. Noticing where it's going, what it's stretching, what space it's utilizing. And for the next few consecutive cycles of breath, do your best to increase that inhale without stressing anything. We're just gently building upon that breath, trying to find a little bit of extra space here, really expanding the lungs gently one cycle at a time. And again, without stressing or forcing anything, we're just going to continue to breathe in and out the nose, doing our best to get to our max capacity. So we're gently drawing in everything the body needs for class. And then we're squeezing out all that old air on the exhale. Now, as you continue to breathe, as you continue to get heavier in the shoulders, go ahead and take a moment to notice the footprints. Nothing's wrong, nothing's bad. We just want to notice, observe. Can you feel any differences between the right foot and the left foot in terms of heaviness or in terms of angle, maybe the pressure that you feel against the mat? And then isolating the feet, exploring just one footprint. Can you feel each toe on the mat? It's okay if you don't. Maybe one toe feels a little heavier or a little longer. You might notice the space that's lifted up off the mat, if any, from the arch. And then go ahead and scan the second footprint. Same thing, looking at the toes in the mind's eye, noticing the pressure or the length. Noticing the arch, if you can feel a space lifted up off the floor. You might even be able to feel a temperature difference. Sometimes the toes are a different temperature than the rest of the body. Take just 2 more big cycles of breath, getting all this information to the brain so our feet are really online here. We've dialed that awareness up to 10. And then with this last exhale, go ahead and flutter open the eyes, bring the knees into the chest. Take that strap off the legs, put it off to the side. We're going to need them later. And then go and find a full body stretch for me. Reach the fingers, reach the toes, wiggle the fingers. And then bring yourself up, knees into the chest. We're going to kick the heels up and down right now. Watson clearly thinks he needs some attention right now. And then after a couple of these big kicks, working out the rust in the back of the legs, go ahead and pause, flex and extend the ankles, just a little like pushing of your gas pedals here back and forth, and then some big circles. Don't worry about direction here. Just take a few in whatever feels natural, and then try to reverse to take a few in the other. Just getting everything warmed up. All right, from here, we're going to plant the feet about hip distance apart, hands down by the sides. As you press into the feet, I want you to roll up into your rolling bridges, rolling a wave up the spine, and then as you get to the top of your bridge, go and come onto your tiptoes. And then as you come down, place the feet back down on the floor, and as you tuck the tailbone towards the heels, lift the toes up off the floor so you're digging into your heels. Footprints down, roll a wave up the spine. When you get to the top, come to your tiptoes. And then as you come all the way down, tuck your tailbone towards your heels and then lift up your toes. One more like that. So you're rolling pressure like a massage through the feet. Tiptoes, and then bring it all the way down and lift the toes. All right, bring it down to relax. Right foot's going to go up all by itself here. Hold the hamstring stretch just for a moment as you press to the heel and flex the toes down towards the shin. Kind of feeling out this leg, and then see if you can keep the leg as is as you begin to write the alphabet with your foot. So your big toe is your pin here, all capital letters, and as big as you possibly can. Penmanship does not count here, so just really go at it. Big letters, go through your ABCs. Okay, basically this is going to take the ankle in all different directions. It's going to make your ankle work in ways that maybe you don't normally do or traditionally do. Keep writing. Again, you can go as fast as you want, but sometimes slowing down makes it a little bit more intense because you really have to focus on what you're doing. Big as you can. Starting to feel those muscles in the shin and along the ankle start to light up. Give me one more letter here, and then pause and rest that leg. Switch it out. Left leg goes up, press to the heel, find that hamstring stretch, flex the toes down towards the shin, big breath. All right, and then again, using your big toe as a pencil, go ahead and start to write the alphabet as big as you can. Feeling all those different little muscles of the toes and the ankle and even to the shin, calf, and knee. Big as you can. Again, don't worry about being sloppy with your handwriting. Just big capital letters as big as you possibly can. Got just a few more. Keep moving. Notice if one ankle gets tired quicker than the other. I know this guy is definitely more tired. He must be a little bit weaker than my right. Last letter. And pause. All right. Bring both knees into the chest. Give yourself a big squeeze. We're going to roll up and down the spine a couple times. Give yourself a massage. And then as you pop yourself up to a seated position, we're going to throw our legs out in front of us. Okay, relax the chin down to the chest. Go ahead and give me a nice big circle all the way around the neck. Get out the pops and the creaks. When the chin is back on the chest, go ahead and reverse that circle. And then sit up nice and tall. All right, looking at your feet, see if you can really point the toes as much as possible and then bring them back as much as possible. And as you do this, you might notice how the heels kind of scrub the floor because of how much you're using. So when you point the toes, you might feel a stretch on the shins. When you curl the toes back, you might feel a stretch on the calves, okay? Give me two more with your max range of motion here. Perfect. All right, and then pause. Okay, you're gonna need your resistance band if you have one. If you don't worry. You can still play along. We're gonna take the resistance band around the feet, and I really want to focus on kind of covering the pinky toes. Like that's how high up on the feet these are. Then I'm gonna take the feet as far apart as what's going to give me just a little bit of resistance, a little bit of feedback. All right, so nothing too crazy, just enough to feel like, okay, I'm holding the strap. The strap's not forcing me inwards. And then I'm going to take a very gentle V shape back and forth. This isn't going to be a giant movement here. I'm going to rest in my hands. And then as you keep going here, I'm going to turn this way so you can get a little bit of a better angle. This way. Okay, Okay, so as you keep going, make sure that the motion, the energy is coming from down here on the sides of the calves. What we don't want is the whole leg and knees bowing out. Okay, so as you watch, you want to feel a little bit of a tension, a little bit of heat, a little bit of work on those outer calf areas, those big, strong supporting muscles that keep us in alignment. We're going to be for 2 more little V shapes, just making sure that the energy is not coming from here at the tops of the legs. Okay, keeping your feet the same position with the band. I'm going to bend the knees, and I'm going to take my right ankle on top of my left knee. So I have a guys cross the legs. Now this is a little intense. I can just take that leg and straighten it out some more. Okay. Now it's going to be the opposite direction. I'm going to take my big toe up towards the ceiling and then back down. So I want to slowly work the inside of my calf now. Okay. So again, if you need to lighten up here, or if you want to bring it in, if your hips allow for that, you can. You can also do this seated in a chair. So if you need the support of a chair, you're welcome to grab one. Sit with your legs crossed. So I'm anchoring down with my left foot. My right foot is kicking up and down. And again, this motion is coming from the ankle and the calf. We're not trying to get the knee involved here. 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to come back to my V's. Go ahead and push it out there. If you need to adjust the strap, mine's kind of rolling up on me a little bit. Okay. All right. Go ahead and come back to your V's. And then if you need more, you just take the legs slightly further apart. It's going to give you more resistance. If you're tired from the first round, just take it in a little bit so that maybe it's a little less. Okay. We're here for 5. Watch those knees. 4. It's not going to be a giant move here. It's not meant to be. 3, 2, and 1. All right, bend the knees so that now you can take the left foot on top of the right knee, adjust the right leg as necessary, and then lift and lower. So this movement is coming from the ankle and the calf, and it's max range of motion. So if you can get your toes to lower without that strap flinging off, go ahead, back and forth. These are really valuable exercises to make sure that if you do happen to step wrong or roll your ankle, it's not going to be a, hopefully, life-altering injury. It's going to be something that you can kind of spring back from quite quickly. I know after I really worked on balance and stability through these guys, my ankles have been great in things like volleyball or swimming. All right, last one. Okay, bring it back. Last set of V's. We just have 5 here, so find your level of resistance for 5. For 4, make sure that you're not allowing the resistance band to go boing back. Make sure you're resisting out and resisting back. We got 2 more, slow and controlled. Last one, and you're done. All right, done with the resistance band. You can chuck him out of the way. Don't need him. Rolling over hands and knees. All right, go ahead and meet me in cat-cow. We're going to stack the shoulders on top of the wrists, the hips on top of the knees. On your inhale, gently drop your ribs. On your exhale, push, arch, and tuck the tailbone towards the nose. Take a few more like this, just slowing down enough to be mindful of each and every vertebra of the spine. We want every link in this chain to get some movement, so make sure you're prioritizing the length from nose to tailbone. Last one up, last one down. And then bring it back to a nice neutral spine. We're going to take the right foot out for a calf stretch. Now, as I press back into the heel, the tendency is for the heel to spin inwards like we do in Warrior 2. So take a look back and make sure the heel's in line with the sitting bone. And then if you want to stack the left foot up on top, give yourself a little extra oomph, you're welcome to do so. Take a big breath here. And then with that left knee back down, I'm going to flip the foot upside down, press down through the toenails, pull forward towards the front of your mat, and you're going to feel a pretty nice stretch up the shin towards the top of the knee. Now, if you need to bend the knee to change the angle or the intensity of the stretch, feel free to do so. And then we're going to put that knee down and switch it out. Left foot goes back. I'm going to take a quick peek back there to make sure the heel's in line with the sitting bone, and then maybe I'm going to choose to take that right foot up on top. That's completely up to you. Take a big breath for me here. And then with that right knee back down on the floor, go ahead and flip your foot upside down. Press down fiercely through the top of your foot. Pull forward to find the stretch up the shin and maybe even towards the base of the kneecap. Take a big breath. And then let that go. With your knees symmetrical, hip distance apart, curl your toes and begin to walk your hands back, feeling a stretch on the bottoms of the feet. You're welcome to keep the hands on the mat, maybe work up towards the thigh bones, or if you need a tick extra, you can walk the kneecaps forward. Now we're looking for that deep stretch right up the middle of the feet, so let's keep the heels in line with sitting bones. Let's keep the knees in line with the hips. We're going to be here for one more cycle of breath. So important to keep the feet strong and long. We got to find that balance. And then as you come on out of this, go ahead and wiggle out the toes. Okay, here we go. Go ahead and hug your thumbs in towards one another so the shoulders are prepared for weight. Step back into plank, take a big inhale, and then exhale, press back into down dog. Keeping the shoulder blades neutral so they're not shoved up in your ears, but they're also not locked down your back. I like to take a little bit of a wiggle, a little bit of walk here. And then go ahead and take your time going all the way up to the top of your mat and rolling up to a standing position. You're going to grab your tennis ball or your myofascial release ball, set it on your mat, and then just for about a minute on each side, go ahead and just gently scrub your feet. So going from the toes through the arch to the heel. I always tend to find a really nice spot in my arch. I say nice spot in my arch that I'm just going to kind of hold on just like an iron on a wrinkled shirt. I'm going to hang out there for a second, breathe, let it release that tension, and then when I don't feel that wrinkle anymore, I'm going to go ahead and scrub. So this is going to bring a lot of really valuable blood flow and hydration to these tissues of the feet. It's also going to get my brain online with every square inch of my footprint, so kind of like building a blueprint in my brain. Okay, I'm going to head on over to the other side, maybe taking a second to be feeling the difference. For me, I can always see a different color because of the blood flow. One of the feet becomes just slightly different, a little more red. And then I'm going to pause. You can always change the angles as well. If you have higher arches, sometimes it's valuable to tilt the foot so that you can get a little bit more into the higher part. Just, nothing to the detriment of your knees. We got just a few more seconds here to scrub from the toes. Make sure you get underneath those guys all the way to the heel, that back little corner. All right. Go ahead and bring that down. All right, now put the ball at the top of your mat. We're going to need him here in just a second. Put the block on the skinny side of the back of your mat. We're going to need him here in just a second, and then meet me back in the middle of your mat. And I want you to stare at your feet. So looking at just the right foot, can you pick up just the right big toe up and down without the little guys getting involved? Now, if the little guys just can't help themselves, then I want you to take your hand, push the little guys down, and then focus on that big toe lifting and lowering. And then once you've got it, then try letting go. You can always come back and push them back down. But we want the brain to get that neurological connection of that muscle that we're using to lift just the big toe by itself. Okay? Then switch. Big toe gets nailed down. Little guys flare up and down. And again, if the brain's just having a hard time today, go push your big toe down and then work a few rounds to see if you can come back up. Eventually, it will get easier, I promise. Sometimes it feels like there's just this giant disconnect between your brain and your feet the first couple times you do this. Okay, go ahead and shake that out and switch it out. I'm staring at my left foot. We want to isolate sides here. My left big toe is going to move up and down, and I know that I have that ability to press down the pinky toes, little guys, so that we can really focus on the big toe. I'm seeing that muscle flare right up the top of the foot. I'm also feeling some work in the inner arch. Okay, now the big toe is going to glue down. My little guys are going to move. Now I see work on the outer edge of my foot. I can feel that outer arch start to move and start to work. Maybe even feel some heat and fatigue. Okay, we're here for 3, 2, 1. This is something amazing to do every single morning. You can do it while you're at work under your desk. Just 10 on the big toe, 10 on the little guys. Super, super valuable. All right, so feet are lit up, ready to go. Top of the mat is your ball. Back of the mat is your block. All right, here we go. Sun A's. I want you to squeeze the ball between your heels. So feet are going to be parallel. All right, make sure you're not duck foot, pigeon toes. Okay, squeezing the heels. Inhale, hands up overhead. Can you get up on your big toes and squeeze to lift the ball? Squeeze to lift. Let's focus a little bit on the big toe mound here as we lift for another 3, for another 2, getting as high up off the floor as we can while maintaining that squeeze of the ball, and then we're done. Forward fold, bend the knees if you need. Right foot's going to step back. We're going to leave the ball where it is. Now, once you're back here, I'm going to roll from tiptoes to heel, allowing that massage to happen through the foot, getting a little bit of a stretch for one more round. And then as I step back, I want to make sure that my feet are on either side of this block. So I didn't place him right. He needs to be a little closer. There we go. All right, from there, lower the knees, lower to the belly, and then squish the block with your ankles. Drawing the belly button towards the spine, lift and lower the block as if you're doing cobra with your legs. Continue to squeeze the block fiercely, feeling those inner calf, maybe even inner thigh muscles. Try to keep the legs as straight as possible. Don't go so high up that you feel this in your low back. Last one, and then release. Curl the toes, find your plank, I have a feeling that ball is going to run away on me. Down dog, lengthen it out, and then look forward, step forward, top of the mat. We're going to place that ball right back in between our heels. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold chin to chest. Inhale, rise up, get tall. Now, if the arms are throwing you off, you can always take the hands down to the hips. And then as you lift and squeeze, again, we're making sure we're symmetrical here. So basically, there's straight lines right through the middle of our feet, like the number 11. And then as you lift and squeeze, we want to put just a tick of extra energy on that big toe mound so that we're not spilling to the outer edges of our ankles. That's what we tend to do, that kind of rolling of the ankle. Last 2 and last 1. All right, forward fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, left foot steps back this time. And again, I'm going to rock from tiptoes to heels, finding that max range of motion through the ankle as I massage over the sole of my foot. One more up and down. And then I'm going to get the ball out of the way, step back in a plank. Make sure I can squeeze that block with my ankles, drop down to the belly. As I squeeze the block fiercely, the belly button lifts towards the spine, and I'm going to lift and lower. So hands aren't really doing anything. I can keep the nose pretty close to the floor here. And I'm just going to listen to my low back so that as I'm lifting, I'm not dropping into it. Belly firm for 3. Keep squeezing that block for 2. And last one, you're done. Curl the toes, find yourself in plank, press back into down dog, lengthen it out. And then look forward, step forward, top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins, and exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, get nice and tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, so take that squishy block. We want it on the flattest, lowest setting on our mat or right above our mat, okay? We're going to be working some chair with this, okay? So I'm going to put it on the right side so that my right foot will be on the block, all right? All the rest of the stuff can get out of your way. All right, so remember, it can be a cork block with a towel just to give you a little bit of an uneven surface, or it can be the squishy block, which is great for this, okay? All right, firm here. I'm going to put my right foot on the block. Now, if you're like me, my foot's a little bigger than the block, so prioritize the heel. All right, heel needs to be stable. It's okay if the toes kind of hook over a little bit, okay? All right, so from there, I'm going to square off my chair. Okay, I'm going to sit down into my chair and then focusing on my directly through the middle of my feet. So right there, middle of my foot, I'm going to drive through the middle of my foot, rise up, straightening out the right leg, lift my left knee. Bring it back down into chair through the heels. Now press to the middle of your foot, lighting up those muscles that we've already highlighted with all those exercises. Bring it down through the heels. Rise up, press to the middle of your right foot. Bring it back down one more round. Drop through the heels. And then as you rise up, drive through the middle of your right foot. Lift. We're going to linger here for 5, 4. Wiggling is fine. 2 and 1. Step that left foot back to normal chair, even chair, and then fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, your vinyasa, which could absolutely just be down dog. That's totally fine. All right, pressing through the thumb and index. Relax the chin to the chest. Here we go. Inhale, right toes up in the sky. Exhale, kick your foot all the way through. Spin your back heel down, rise up, warrior 2. As soon as you're set in warrior 2, we're going to make sure 5 toes are pointing forward, knee through the middle of the foot. All right, you're welcome to stay here. Drive through the feet, feel out your footprints, stay here, or I'm going to lift up my right heel up and down, again focusing on that big toe mound so I don't careen over to that pinky toe side of the foot, which is pretty easy to do, kind of tempting to do because of the bones in our ankle. For 3, for 2, and last one. Now straighten out that front leg, reach forward and down. Hand is light on the shin. Now we want the pressure through the ball of the foot. So a little softened bend of the knee will help with that. Take a big breath, feeling how the pressure is now changed towards the top half of the foot. Take a breath. All right, bending your knee and driving to the middle of your right foot. Can you slide that back foot in? And then as you slowly lift towards half moon, blocks there if you need it, keep driving to the middle of your right foot, really focusing on all of those ankle muscles hugging into the bone and helping you and holding you. And then hands down, toes down, walk to the middle of your mat. Heels in, toes out. We're going to start a little sway right and left, and I want you to notice how the pressure changes in the feet. So as I bend my knee, the weight goes to the heel. As I straighten my leg is a little bit through my toe, so the ball of my foot. So notice how the weight changes. And then walk yourself to the top of the mat. Slide back into down dog. Let's do the second side. Inhale, left toes up. Exhale, kick it all the way through. Spin the back heel down, rise up. Once you've checked on the knee through the front of the front foot, heel tiny bit back behind those toes in the back, stacking up the shoulders on top of the hips. Give me a big breath, and you are more than welcome to stay here. You're good to go. Or lift that left heel up and down with a focus on the big toe. So if that means that you lift only a little bit, that's totally fine. Eventually that range of motion will come, but we want the right setup here. We want the pressure in the right area. Okay, last one. Now straighten out that front leg, reach forward and down. Pressure now changes to the ball of the foot, so if you need to bend the knee to accomplish that, great, do it. Spiral the rib cage up towards the ceiling, take a big breath. And then recognize we're coming into half moon, so visualize it, look forward, bend your knee as you slide forward. Remember to drive through the middle of your foot as you lift. It's so important to think middle of your foot so everything is suction cupping to the mat and holding you in place. All those muscles that we warmed up are hugging in tight. Take a breath. And then hands down, toes down. And then slide on back into down dog, lengthen it out. All right, looking forward, bend the knees, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, get nice and tall. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, so now we need to switch the block over to the left side because we'll be doing that same chair set, but on the opposite foot. And we are going to add in the strap here, okay? So this next round is a little spicy, okay? We're going to have the strap, and I just want to show you where it's going so you don't have to worry about once you get there. I will be placing my right foot forward. I'll be pausing to put the loop around my foot, okay? Now what I'm trying to do here is if I pull hard enough on the strap, the foot's going to cave to the pinky toe side, right? Okay, so I'm offering a challenge here. I'm trying to throw myself off balance, but I'm going to nail down the foot right through the middle so that it couldn't possibly move no matter how hard I try. Okay, so take your level of challenge. You can pull on that strap as hard as you want. Obviously, the harder you pull, the more difficult it is. So have that loop right there across the top of your mat. We're going to put our right foot in it here in just a second. Okay, all right, here we go. Left foot on the block, prioritizing the heel. Square yourself off chair. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale down into your chair through the heels. Now drive through that left middle of your foot as you rise up, hovering the right foot. Bring it down to the chair. Pressure to the heels. If the hands are getting in the way, just take them to the hips. Drive through that left arch, right through the middle. Okay? Drill a hole through the block because of the middle of your foot. Okay, we got two more. Heels and then left foot. Hang out here. And again, you're going to feel a lot of wiggling in that ankle. That's great. Those muscles are working to hold you in place. Let's hover this one for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step off the block and you're back in your normal chair. Square yourself off. Big inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, step it on back into your vinyasa, which of course could be down dog. Maybe you're working on dropping the knees and doing your chaturanga push-ups. Okay, here we go. Inhale, left toes up in the sky. Pause here. Can you get onto your left tippy toes and then press to your left heel? Left tippy toes, left heel. One more left tippy toes, left heel. Take your right foot all the way through. Now pause long enough to rope around that ball of the foot. Okay, once you've got it, the strap is in my right hand. I'm going to rise up crescent so my back heel is lifted. Okay, so I like to take the strap because I've got a longer strap. I like to wrap it around my arm. It gives me a little bit better purchase. All right, I'm going to start pulling here. All right, and I can stay here, maybe even add a little bit of movement, but as I pull, it's going to get more and more difficult, and as I move, it's going to get more and more difficult to maintain that perfect symmetrical foot. Now, if you really want to challenge, spice it up, keep pulling, bring that left knee up just like we did on that block work. Keep pulling on the strap. Set it back down, take an inhale, keep pulling, rise on up, maybe a little wiggle, that's great. Okay, again, pull, rise up, hang out, nice. All right, last one. Here we go. We're going to linger. Stay right here if you need to, or bring it up and hold. Pull with all your might on that right side for 3, 2, 1. Set it back down. Release the strap. All right, hands come down. Get rid of the strap. We're going to walk to the middle of the mat. All right, forward fold. Relax the chin to the chest. Hang out here. And then feel again the weight in your footprints. We want to stack the hips over the heels, so you might actually feel like 51% of your weight is in the balls of the feet, and then 49% in the heels. Okay, there's a slight shift forward here to get that stack. Take one more big breath. All right, walk yourself forward, top of the mat. Slide it on back into down dog. We got one more side, one more set. Inhale, left toes up. Exhale, heel to tiptoes. Looking at the foot, making sure the heel stays in line with the sitting bone, making sure the big toe is what takes the effort, and then kick your left foot through. Okay, loop it up on that left side. Okay, I'm gonna have the strap in my left hand, press through all four corners of my feet, driving to the middle of the foot. I've got my crescent. All right, I'm gonna wrap it on up. Here we go. Pull, 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 pull. Stay here. Maybe add a little bit of movement. Pull, 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 pull. Or if you're ready, you're gonna lift that right knee, hang out as you pull. The further away you get from the body, the more off balance you are. So if you really want that challenge, go ahead and straighten out the arm all the way to the side and pull with a lot of energy. Okay, bring it down, bring it up if you'd like. Okay, last one. Take a big inhale. If you want, meet me here and linger for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop the foot, drop the strap, get that loop out of there, and then slide back into down dog. Lengthen it on out. And then look forward, step forward, top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, get tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, now it's time for that rag. Grab it. And I'm going to put it in a diamond shape. So the bottom tip of the diamond is facing me. And what I want to do is 1 foot at a time, I'm going to grab the tip of the diamond with my toes. And I'm going to start to pull in. Then I'll release, grab with the toes, pull in. So the idea is I'm slowly going to wrinkle up the whole of the rag up underneath my arch. Okay? So grab and drag, grab and drag, grab and drag. Okay? Then once you get all the way as much as you possibly can, then push the rag back out. Push it back out so that you're back to a kind of sort of a flat rag. Okay? Now, we're gonna do one more. Feel free to stick with it. Or if you want to try this maybe at a later date, you can add weight to the rag. All right? So if you have a cork block, that's a great idea. You can have a little dumbbell. It can be a can of soup. But if you put it, see how I'm dragging that block closer to me as I'm wrinkling up the block. Yeah. So I'm wrinkling up the rag underneath me. Okay, go ahead and let's do it on the other side. If you know that you want to start with a weight, that's totally fine. I'm going to do it this way so you can see. And know that one side is always going to be a little more awkward than the other. There tends to be one foot that's stronger or has a better brain connection. So you're like, oh yeah, this side's great. And then you get to the other side and you kind of feel like a newborn giraffe trying to figure out life. Okay. And then if you do get it all the way in, squish it, flick it back out. Try to create that diamond shape again. And then you can add the block if you want to. Completely up to you for our second round. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. All right. So again, pretty easy one to do, super powerful movement for all those stabilizers and the arches. Super wonderful for people with that feel like they have flat feet. Flat feet can definitely lead to a myriad of issues up into the ankles, knees, low back, and even migraines. So, all right, done with the rag. Last thing, we're gonna grab the squishy block or the cork block with the rag, and then I'm gonna come over here next to the wall. A wall's not required, but man, is it really helpful when you do this the first time, okay? So I'm gonna put my right foot on the block, prioritizing the heel. I'm gonna have my right hand on the wall for some support, and then I'm gonna take a little bit further away. There we go. Yeah, spacing has to be just right. Okay, prioritizing the heel, I'm gonna step up exactly like we did when we did that chair move, okay, up here. And then with my hand on the wall for support, or maybe lightening up as possible, I'm gonna try to come into warrior 3. So I'm gonna push back, maintaining this flat low back. I love to have my hand right there to make sure that one cheek doesn't get uneven. And then I'm gonna try to bring myself all the way back up. Now, eventually, hopefully, maybe one day in the future, we don't use the wall, but it's there. Okay, so I'd rather you stay safe and get that really good range of motion through the movement and all that work, especially if you're using a foam block. My goodness. Especially if it's like a well-used foam block. The squishier, the better. My ankle is burning. I can feel all those muscles working. Okay, let's do one more round, and then we're going to switch it out. Make sure that you're hugging that outer right hip in. We don't want it to be sassy to the wall. And then once you're done, go ahead and step off. Ooh, hopefully feeling a lot of energy work right here and up the side. Okay, so I'm just going to flip around to the other side. Okay, left foot, prioritize the heel. Outer left hip is strong as I press to the middle of the foot. I'm going to have my hand there on the small of my back so I can just make sure that I'm not lifting up like that, becoming asymmetrical. Okay, and then as you lift and as you lower, go slow as you need, because honestly, the slower you go, the harder your ankle has to work to support every teeny tiny change in your range of motion, in your degrees of motion. Okay, so definitely, ooh, yeah, going slower is way more difficult. Wall's there if you need it, maybe working towards getting rid of it, maybe just kind of tapping it once in a while if things start getting shaky. Okay, I'm cinching my waistline in while I'm doing this. I'm keeping that left outer hip nice and firm, and I'm really focusing on driving to the middle of that left foot. We got one more, back and forth. I have a final burnout round here. Whew, for those ankles. Okay, come on down, relax. Ha. All right, nice job. You can get rid of all of that stuff. Good to go. The only prop that we're gonna need is the myofascial release ball or the tennis ball. I'll meet you on your tush. We're gonna get those calves and then a few moments of shavasana. So I'm going to take my right leg and bend the knee, and then this left leg can either be straight if that's more comfortable. I like to kind of sweep it back behind me, but it's completely up to you. Okay, I want to take the ball and line it up on the outer edge of my calf. Now, some of us, if our hips are tight or if our knees are grumpy, we're not going to be able to get the leg low enough to actually create pressure here. So that's where you definitely want to know that you have your props available to you so that you can lift the floor up to you. All right. So definitely don't feel bad about putting a block in here because we're going to get the whole way down the calf. All right. All right. So once you have the ball on the outer edge of the calf, pretty close to the knee, comfortable bend of the knee, you can use your body weight here to lean forward into it, or you can use kind of CPR hands here to press down. Up to you how much pressure you want. You want a deep tissue massage. You don't want anything that's going to freak out the body. Okay. So as I do this, if I immediately find some really good sensations, then great. You hit gold, you're done. Okay. If you're not quite sure, I can take my foot and just do a very gentle flex. And usually that's going to move the muscle just enough to be like, oh, okay, I think that's where I'm supposed to be headed. And then you can adjust and be like, oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. So I'm going to push down, breathe, relax. And then once the sensation fades, I know that I'm able to move down to the next section. So just one ball section at a time. Press down if I need to wiggle a foot just to kind of confirm, yep, there's that muscle. And then just pause, breathe, and relax. Okay. I'm going to slowly work down my shin. I'm going to time you here. We got about 3 minutes. At some point, if you're using the block, you might kind of have to float the foot. That's fine. Just you can hold on to it, relax. If you're using the floor, and at some point, you might actually get rid of the block and just use the floor if you're getting down more towards the ankle part of it. Okay. So take your time. Again, flex the foot if you need to. Breathe, relax. Definitely relax. If this is really sensitive on you, the body's going to want to brace against it. But these are these deep stabilizers of the knee and ankle. They tend to work real hard for you all day and then don't get a lot of love and attention. So sometimes if these guys are grumpy, they can definitely lead to problems in the ankle and the knee, whether it's pain or tension or even influencing your foot strike or the way that your knees produce movement, like when squats and lunges. Okay, we got 1 more minute here. And then don't be too obsessed with the idea of getting all the way down. If you're dealing with a lot of good spots up at the top, then great. Use all your time there. No worries. The idea is to work on your areas of tension, not necessarily to spend the, time consistently equitable down the calf. Okay, go ahead and release the ball. I'm going to bring my legs out, give a couple of those gas pedal pushes, and then we're going to switch to the other side. So the other side is going to be different, obviously. You might need the block, you might not. This leg might need to do something different, straight, bent, pushed up like here, whatever you need. And then once you find your position, go ahead and lean possibly with either your CPR hands. I like to take my forearm and just rest. But if you're really sensitive here, you might not even need any weight at all, right? So use your props as you need. Maybe a little flexion of the foot to explore or to at least move the muscle that we're exploring. Sometimes it might just give you a little bit of feedback to know what direction you're headed. Ooh, found it. So I'm going to pause there. I know specifically for me, this side is much more tense. It's a little bit more fibrous. It feels more like guitar strings than kind of that like soft Play-Doh, clay that the other side is. So this side definitely is grumpier. So just slowly find your areas of tension. Pause, breathe. Relax on them. Do your best to melt and soften into them. The body definitely will brace against the sensation. It'll kind of think, oh no, what's going on? Is this bad? You kind of have to breathe and relax and convince the body that it's good pressure. It's therapeutic pressure. We want to actually release into it and surrender to it as opposed to fight it off. Okay, we're just here for one more minute. Again, don't worry about the idea of getting all the way down the leg. Yep, definitely grumpier on this side. Just a few more seconds here, and then we're going to get ready for the best part of class. All right. So go ahead and release. Take the legs one more time and just a little bit of movement. We always want to kind of stretch out the area that we were influencing. And then make sure that your props are completely out of your way. Nothing's going to get in your way, in your bubble of space. Nothing's going to cause a distraction. So as you're rolling back, we want to end symmetrically. So you can definitely take a full body stretch if you want to. If it's preferable, you can bring your knees into the chest, a little cannonball hug. Or if you want to find a happy baby, you're welcome to do so. So just find something that works for you. I really like to rock over my low back here. So take a moment, get some symmetry. Make sure on that last breath you're still. And then slowly make your way into the most comfortable position of all time. Doing what you need to do to make sure that you set yourself up for successful Shavasana. As you relax, as you close down the eyes, similar to the beginning of class, I want you to prioritize your breath, recognizing that your breath sends signals to the rest of the body. Your breath dictates how your body responds. So with long, slow, mindful cycles of breath, the body's going to recognize that it's safe and that it's okay to relax and shut down. So spend as much time as you need here cultivating that breath that's going to send the right signals. And that might be the next few minutes for you. If you feel like you have the breath, then take a few exhales down the body like little waves of awareness, just making sure that each and every muscle has relaxed. The body has surrendered to gravity. You're not spending any energy here. And then combining that evenness of breath with the stillness of the body, go ahead and find your anchor against distractions. That's your single point of focus, the one thing that you're going to think about to keep you right here in this space, in this time. That could be the breath, maybe visualizing it moving up and down the body. It could be saying a positive word on each inhale as if you're gathering more of that up. It could be counting how many breaths you take. Whatever you choose that works for you. Take the next moment here, practicing the idea of stilling the body, of staying consistent with the breath, and practicing that distraction-free single point of focus. And keeping your eyes closed, take a moment here to wiggle the fingers and the toes, and then compare that with the beginning of class. Notice maybe the work that you put in with the ankles, maybe the brain a little more connected with the feet. You can feel out the temperature or the pressure. And then as you slowly reach the hands up overhead, take a full body stretch, lengthening, searching for more benefits of the class throughout the body. Then gently draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a big squeeze here. Feel free to create any movement on the low back. And continuing to be mindful of the breath, we're going to slowly roll all the way onto the right side using the right arm as a pillow. Let's use this last precious moment of stillness to soak up all that good calm energy that you created. Taking this moment to be grateful for what the body was able to accomplish. And then as you slowly rise up to a seated position, we'll sit tall in the spine, practicing that good posture of ears over shoulders over hips. Hands placed at heart center. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to come and find movement and stillness, breath work and mindfulness, and to recognize just how important those are in balance throughout your day, on the mat and off of it. It was my honor to lead you through class. Namaste.